Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 470. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Right in the nick of time, Mr. Brett Murdoch.
My gamer sense was tingling.
We got Brian Manjoma in the house.
Oh, Rocksteady, what is you doing?
Baby, what is you doing? And back by popular demand, the one, the only, Richard Bailey Jr., who you may know as the great RBJ himself. RBJ.
Yes. What's up, everybody? It's going to be a fun show tonight.
Yes. Rich, you already know. Rich, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. The year is off to a pretty good start. I mean, I don't know if I could say that about video games, because not every game has been good, but it's been a good start to the year so far.
Yeah, man, it really has been. It's been not boring. I'll say that, right? Hey, by the way, Rich, our boy, Mr. Andre Tipton, he wishes you a happy belated birthday. We all wish you a happy belated birthday as well.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that time of year where everybody's born, It's like between January and February, it's like everybody, Your boy, I'm about to have my birthday in a couple weeks too,
See, I'm right there with you guys.
And Brett was right there,
Yep.
Related.
Like, if you're into astrological shit, a bunch of Aquarius is in the house,
Yeah, I believe Brett's birthday was the day before mine's because I was on the 26th.
Ah, yes.
Yes. Damn.
Yeah.
Right.
What is this? The age of Aquarius?
Yeah.
Dude, we all leveling up. Where you at?
Yeah. I don't know if I told this story on air. I'm pretty sure I told you off air. Brett, you'll find this one amusing. My boy Mike, he has the same birthday you do, right? And this is how lazy we've become. We used to have, we used to celebrate his birthday, then my birthday a couple weeks later. Now we're told we celebrate two birthdays. Let's just do one giant party for each of us. Now I'm like, okay, sure,
I kind of love / hate the idea that celebrating twice. What am I, a fucking machine?
Right? This shows how good we have it. But yeah, last year, what happened is it was fucking nasty outside, rainy. We'll just celebrate your birthday. And then I was like, hey, you want to just do that again? And he's like, yeah, who wants to celebrate twice? We're too old for that shit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's how it begins.
Yeah.
It's rolling back on itself, how you have your family, right? That had, that would have birthdays close to each other and then you just roll it all into one.
Pretty much.
So now it's kind of rolled back on itself. So,
That's funny, man. If this keeps up, we're gonna have a triple celebration in April. So it's you kind of get sucked in there too, Manny. Yours is in May, but then it gets pushed back.
It'll be like a black hole. We all just get sucked into the center month.
Pretty much. Yes, happy leap year as well. It is a leap year. So very good stuff. All right, man. We're gonna get into it. This was another week where we had our main topic ready. Then something big happened. It's that's taking over now. We're just obviously going to talk about our original topic, which is the Suicide Squad, which is a game that is causing many people to be very angry, and we're going to talk about that. But first, let's actually start the show off with some good news. State of Play happened, PlayStation State of Play, and unlike most State of Plays, this one was actually pretty good, I must say.
Not bad.
I was surprised. I watched this it happened live, as I was leaving work, so I didn't get to see it until I got home. But I did watch it. I thought it was very good. I mean, there's a couple filler things here and there, but overall pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna talk about all the announcements now. Okay, so I have IGN pulled up here, but they have it all in a wacky order, right? So do you guys want me to try to find something that's in order?
Would PlayStation Blog have it in the correct order?
I'm not sure. Actually, you know what? IGN does have it in the right order, just in reverse. So I'll start from the bottom, and we're gonna work our way up.
Bottom to the top.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Semi kind of in order here, but whatever. Anyway, so we got Helldivers 2. Showed a trailer for that. Did anybody play the first game?
I mean, it's so far. Like, why did they even just call it Helldivers 2? Why didn't they just call it Helldivers? Because it's kind of a reinvention of the game. You know what I mean? Like it's like a third person game. It's kind of like that other one that they put out a while ago, where like you still controlled your character, but it still had RTS elements.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of whatever the hell that game was, but it was very similar idea. You had a control of a hero, and then you just put down things so you could, but you could actually interact with the events going on. Kind of like Brutal Legend was a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, did anybody here play this game? I never played it.
To be honest, I wasn't interested in it back when it originally came out, and not really interested in it right now. But maybe people in the chat, the fans in the chat, are more interested in it than I am. But
yeah, let us know if you play. Let us know if you played that game. Excuse me, if you're interested in it or not.
I didn't play.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian.
Brian, go ahead, bro.
I never played it, but it was interesting, so I did like peek over it. And have you guys heard the latest upset or controversy in quotes over this one now?
Oh, with Helldivers?
Yes.
No, I have not. what
Damn, that was fast.
Yeah, right. Jesus.
Wow, already controversy.
Even like low level games are getting mired in controversy now. It seems,
dude, it's so fast. I swear to God, like eventually we're gonna get controversy coming like before like even the game is conceived. Like
yes.
Everybody will like look forward in time, be like, oh shit, they're like lawsuits about GTA 7. I guess that's coming sometime soon.
Yeah.
New Kojima game controversy. He's working on something.
No, it's not even that. The controversy is going to come before the actual announcement. That's what Brett's saying, and I agree with that.
Future controversy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So what's going on with this? Oh my God, what is happening with this game?
So this game is being made by a studio, which I don't remember the name of.
Did they kill a beloved character?
It's an Arrowhead.
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
So, what is it? And it's being published by PlayStation. So that's great. It's fantastic. And it's coming out on PC and on PlayStation, obviously. But then the issue is, those that play it on PlayStation, they have to pay to play online. Because again, it's an online game, has online aspects. But those that play it on PC don't. So people are very upset that PlayStation is publishing a game where, depending on which platform you play it on, you have to pay it online. And I just found that to be really funny, because like this is what the Gears of War people had when Xbox first came to PC. Because like, oh yeah, how's that PC guys don't pay for Xbox Live?
Yeah.
So it's a small thing, but it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. You guys don't understand.
I mean, if you get the PC, you probably get the superior version, the one that you don't need to play online, and the one that you don't,
Well, this
pay
has
much
been
as the retail price for the PlayStation version.
This has been
Sounds like a rope-a-dope to me.
Yeah, Blitz says it's the same with every console game that's also on PC.
Oh yeah.
This has been a Brian talking point for years, goddamn near decades at this point.
This is true, yeah. By the way, I found a random site that does have it all in order, but those have release dates, which is nice. So Helldivers is coming February 8th. Good stuff.
It looks good,
yeah.
like graphic wise. Like it looks clean. I'm not too interested in the genre, but it looks like it was well made. So who knows? Maybe it'll surprise people.
Yeah. All right. Now we got the first big announcement, at least for me. Stellar Blade, baby. We went to a little bit of a deep dive there. Even had one of the developers there. I think that was the guy who created the game. Cool stuff.
And who was narrating it was the voice of 2B from Nier Automata.
Very appropriate. Very appropriate because because I'm like, if you look at this game like this shit, very inspired by Nier Automata, Mm-hmm.
Yes, it definitely feels like Nier Automata. So I mean, it does look very cool. Like it's a Korean developer, right?
Yeah, Korean developer.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's a Korean developer. I mean, it looks very good.
Yeah,
I'm very surprised that the way the character is portrayed in this game.
Yeah, and that's something you see a lot of Western studios doing. You know,
Yeah, like there's a little bit more modesty to a lot of the clothing choices in a lot of games made on certain coasts.
yeah, in certain hemispheres. You mean?
In certain hemispheres, but I mean, who gives a shit about what she's wearing? She's kicking some ass in that thing, man.
Yeah.
Like she what was it? The last shot, she like chops up the thing, cuts it in half, and does all this other great stuff. It's like it definitely feels like almost like a throwback, like Square Enix game. I could see Square making this type of game.
Yeah. That looks good, man.
At some era.
Yeah. Now, again, I still remember the controversy when the game first got announced. Like, the usual, right? Oh, real women don't look like that. Then it showed the model. She looks like that. Kind of interesting.
If you follow the Twitter account of this game, there's actually a lot of really interesting insight into how he's gone into developing this game. Like a lot of the like monsters, he's actually molded them, like created them like physically and then scanned them and stuff. So there's a lot of really cool sort of stuff that he's got going on. This is not the same person that we saw years ago that was doing a kind of like another one like beat 'em up Final Fantasy. Like I can't remember. It was being developed by one developer as well. This is not the same connected.
No,
this is not connected anyway with that game. Right?
Nope, it's not connected at all. That game has gone really silent, and I'm really annoyed at because it's been silent for too long.
I remember Sony also did invest in that game too.
Brian, what game was that, by the way, if you remember?
Funny enough, I don't have my notepad, and it's on my notepad.
Lost
Soul aside.
Lost Soul. Oh shit! Bringing it back. Oh, wow. Yeah. What happened to that game? Holy shit.
One developer was making it in Unreal at the time.
Yeah.
Well, wait a second. The name is accurate because it's lost right now, right? We don't know where the hell it's at. So maybe later this year.
Yeah. So, Rich, what do you think of Stellar Blade, man? I'm pretty sure you've been keeping up with it since it got announced.
Oh, yeah. I was very impressed. As soon as I saw this trailer, I thought to myself, I know our good friend Carlos Romero said PlayStation ain't got no games this year. As soon as I saw that, I said, all right, you can't say that because this is coming out in April.
Yes, April 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be eating good, man. And enjoying those assets,
Oh my god. Here we go.
By the way, because there's always controversy, right? One mini controversy I saw was somebody was comparing the girl's ass from the original trailers. It's like, yo, man, they made it smaller. I'm like, it's still big, dude. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, they try to just make it look more like the real girl that she's based on. It's insane. No, the game looks something that a lot of Western games aren't. It looks fun.
My only slight complaint of the character, and this just comes from a design aspect, like she doesn't have obviously if you're not wearing her out normal, like she doesn't have like a specific silhouette.
Yeah.
That you always see. Like it's always different because there's always a bunch of different outfits that you got. So I'm like, I had trouble knowing like, okay, what's the A outfit? What's the, like even 2B and Nier Automata has like one outfit that's like the outfit. And then obviously, jump off outfits from that.
Yeah. That's a good point. But yeah, the game looks fun. All right. Anybody else have any more thoughts on Stellar Blade?
Definitely, very piqued interest on that game. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, you go first, Carlos, this time.
Oh, okay.
Just real quick, want to tell Rich, it is coming out on PlayStation, but it's not made by PlayStation. It's only probably published. So they don't get credit for this, man.
Yeah. Oh no, Blitz! I'm gonna take you one further. He says, "Wait for the fan art. Wait for the AI generated fan art." You already know these sick motherfuckers what they're gonna do. Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I was getting a very strong Bayonetta vibe, especially from the trailer. Again, the long black hair, the English accent, the stylishness of it all. I was like, either this guy was very inspired by Bayonetta, or that's like a character style over there that they really like. Either way, I'm all for it. So yeah, it was cool. Obviously, I'll catch it when it comes to PC because I don't trust Sony.
She's not. I mean, here's the one thing about her is that she's not nearly as cheeky as Bayonetta is.
Yeah.
Bayonetta's like, oh, you've ripped my clothes off, naughty, like stuff like that. Like, she's. I think this girl seems a little bit more, a little more tortured, I guess.
Yeah, I will say she's cheekier in other ways than Bayonetta, though. All right, Brett. Any quick thoughts on Stellar Blade? All right, there he is.
Honestly, man, I've been working all day. I didn't get to see the video, so I'm kind of backseat on this one.
All right, okay on the whole presentation, I guess.
I just thinking about like I'll watch videos. Yeah, I didn't see the whole presentation, but I'll start watching videos as we get to the next one. I'll look at the Stellar Blade video right now.
Yeah, somebody link Brett, unless you already have a link. Yeah, somebody just link up to like a thread and you can watch along. Brett, I've done the same thing too, brother, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, if I get the
on
day
air, I've done the same
away.
thing. Yeah, I've done the same thing. All right, next up we got Sonic X Shadow Generations.
So it's Sonic Generations 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, people liked that game. Like, legitimately, like, they considered that one kind of like one of the better of the, after fact Sonic games. So, it's got Shadow now. Where's his guns, though? He ain't got no guns, yo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care, to be honest.
Yeah, if it's not really if it's just a sort of like remix game, it's like more Sonic for the Sonic sake. I don't need it.
Yeah, again, unless it's Sonic Mania 2, I don't care.
I mean,
Yeah,
Sonic just did this whole like big reboot. Like I think I heard Riku say that the newest Sonic was actually pretty decent, but I never actually played it. I don't think a lot of people did.
Yeah, they probably didn't. Sonic Frontiers, I'm guessing, right? The open world.
Yeah,
one?
I think that's the one.
Yeah. I mean, Riku's a big Sonic fan. Modern Sonic, I should say. Just got to be clear about that.
There's quite a bit of people that are like modern Sonic folks.
Yeah, does anybody know how Frontiers was? I'm like legitimately asking, not being a dick about it.
You see me shrugging. I don't know. My thing is like if Sonic has green eyes, I know to stay away.
Is that a tell?
Yeah, it is. The modern Sonic has green eyes, whereas the old school Sonic has pure black eyes.
Oh.
And you can see it in this trailer for Sonic X Generations. You see the new Sonic because he has green eyes and he's like longer. He's like more elongated. And then the old Sonic is, older Sonic has pure black eyes and he's like shorter and a little rounder.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks fun. I don't know. Like I've played platforming bits in other games that have kind of. I don't even remember what it is recently, but like I played platforming games and other bits in other games that just make me think about Sonic. I know that it can be done, right? I feel like it can be done in 3D. This looks fun. I don't know, man. It's a weird genre now. Like it used to make sense in 2D, and it kind of made sense in 3D. And I guess it makes sense as a game, kind of, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's about speed, and it's kind of almost like a racing game, built like a racing game, but it's not. It's just a weird mix.
I've said this for decades now. Sonic doesn't work well in 3D. That for some reason Mario made the jump to 3D seamlessly. Everything worked. With Sonic, it just never translates correctly, and I don't know why. But
Probably the speed aspect.
it might be, yeah. Yeah, you're right, because Mario was never like a speed game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when Mario went 3D, 64, like this makes sense. This is like the 2D games, but 3D, and it makes sense. But then you get to Sonic, you're like, something's wrong here.
I mean, the thing about it is like you always have that the difficulty of speed, and speed, especially when you're in like a 3-dimensional environment, going in more than one direction, it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
It feels like you're not in control. So that's why whenever you in those sort of speed sections in the the rear Sonic view, it almost feels like you're on rails.
It is, because you are on rails.
Because if you were to go anywhere beyond that, then it becomes an issue, right? Yeah. Like even in racing car games, you're pretty much like, granted, there's only one direction that you're going, right?
Yeah. No, you're right.
But now ask the car to platform, and now it's still, you're still locked down to more like a 2-dimensional space almost.
Honestly, the only thing that changes that is, it's weird to say, it's VR. Like having the ability to bend your neck in like a racing game, and like a VR racing game, it changes it. Like it makes racing almost like dull. Like it makes even a hard track insanely kind of dull. It's still fun, but it's so much easier.
It's also because you perceive things in 3 dimensions, right? If you're running, right, you can look back, you can do all those different things. You would still have that sort of spatial awareness from moving. But I'd say, like, again, when it comes to high speed, I feel like it's a bit of a difficult one. So you almost have to create like a half and half game, like they have created, where it's, in other words, you have those sections where you're platforming and doing all that stuff in 3D, and then then you have what I call the loop-to-loop section, where they literally throw you on a rail and you just go all over the place, and then you go back into the main gameplay. That's how all of those Sonic games have worked since Sonic Adventure.
Yeah. But
they haven't figured out a way to get around it.
Well, just because you do 3D doesn't mean you need to go open world. And maybe my age or fanboyism is showing here, but I feel like Dreamcast kind of nailed it in some of their like basic level design of like, yeah, it feels like they put you through a course, but that's okay because it's Sonic. There can be open world parts or whatever, but like it does need to funnel you into a track of sorts. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, but what's interesting is the 2D Sonic games. Yes, there was speed sections, but there was also a lot of just normal exploration, and it seems like the 3D games don't really have a lot of that. It's just speed.
Well, they haven't figured out the transition.
They still have a fair amount. Like they still have exploration. Like in Sonic Adventure, you still had to find those different little. If you wanted those additional things, you could explore around a little bit.
Yeah,
kind of like a little bit like a Mario game, but not so much like a Mario game. So I mean, I feel like that's what they were trying to attempt with the last Sonic game.
Yeah, the Frontiers.
They were trying to give you kind of an open worldy side of idea, but it still throws you into those familiar 3D Sonic realms.
Yeah, Blitz says the 3D special stages in Sonic 2 feel better than most modern 3D Sonic games. Yeah, they kind of do. Again, this has always been something that's always just fascinated me. How you have these two mascots, Mario and Sonic. Mario, again, made that seamless transition to 3D, right? And Sonic never quite did. Even though I know there's fans of those games. Riku loves the 3D Sonic games. I get that. That those games have they wouldn't keep making those games if it weren't for fans, but there's also a disconnect. Like again with Mario guys, you're not gonna, like I know there's some guys who go like Adam. He just liked the 2D Mario games, and there's like a 3D games. But most Mario fans like 2D or 3D. They don't care. You
want to hear my theory?
What's your theory?
Mario games are about the world.
Yeah.
Sonic games are about the characters.
How so? With Mario, I understand, but I don't understand with the Sonic part.
Think of a Sonic world.
Yeah.
Can you think of it?
Is it the loops and the checkerboard and shit like that? Yeah.
Okay. can you think of another one?
Like the
Casino
metal
World?
like Casino Worlds, the metal world,
the flame,
the water worlds,
magma.
obviously, with the bubbles and shit,
See, they while those worlds are fun, they kind of feel very themey, but there's nothing significant that jumps out of it. There's not the little guy in the clouds with the turtle shell. There's not the Goombas. Like there's nothing super notable about like the most of the enemies. Like I love the Sonic games, but it's more about Sonic doing and bashing stuff. And this area is like a casino zone, and this area is like a water zone. But like it's within that, I have trouble picturing specific things. But if you tell me like Mario, like oh man, I can imagine the ice world with the fucking penguins and shit. Like there's so many iconic places in Mario that I think that when you went to 3D, it kind of captured people by people being like, I want to explore that area. Like it wasn't just the speed; it was I want to go to the ice world. I want to see this place, and I want to see this place. Because Mario was always about different maps, so all over the place. So like, Sonic kind of did the same thing. I just don't feel like it landed the world as iconic. It's like how Batman, half the pull is Gotham and his bad guys. Like Mario has this full cast, and I can tell you this: I tattoo Mario stuff all the time. I never tattoo Sonic stuff. Never.
That's interesting. I mean, Mario is more of a icon though than Sonic, even though Sonic is an icon himself. Yeah.
Sonic is an icon, but the rest of Sonic's world isn't as iconic.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, okay, I understand where you're coming from now. It's an interesting take. All right, we spent more time on Sonic than I thought, but let's move on here. Sonic.
As any good fanboy conversation should.
Yes. All right. Now let's talk about Rich's most anticipated game of the year. Foam Stars. Which is dropping out of all these games. It's the one that's coming up closest, February 6th. So yeah, I don't know about this one. This is what's that Nintendo game? It seems like a rip off of that with the squids and shit. Splatoon. That seems like PlayStation's answer to Splatoon, even though nobody asked the question. So Rich, as your favorite game, what do you think of this one?
Well, I don't know who spread that rumor about this being my favorite game. Perhaps it was Carlos, but I am not impressed. Now, I will say when I did play this last year, there was only one mode that they had us play. That's not really, you can't get a full representation of the game if you're only playing one mode. So I am curious to see what they... Oh, no. I'm curious to see what they have added, but this is not a game that I plan to really spend any real time playing. So.
Yeah. Again, it just seems like one of those games where like Sony's throwing something at a wall and hope it sticks. It's like, who wants this? Who asked for something like this?
So if I heard Rich right, he said he doesn't have plans to play the game after the first 200 hours you played.
No, absolutely not. We will not be spending that kind of time on any of this stuff. No,
Rich, I like your name for this game, Flop Stars.
Yes, it is the flop, in my opinion, because what I played it gets tiresome very quickly.
Yeah. See, and you did play. That's where your opinion is based on, which is more credible than a lot of these other jokers on Twitter.
Yo, Tony, would you say his opinion is based?
It is based. Rich's opinions are always based. But yeah, Foam Stars, we'll see what happens, but I'm absolutely not interested, All right, the next thing we have here is Dave the Holy Diver, as I'm calling it now. Dave the Diver X Dredge. And there's a Godzilla collaboration.
Crossover.
And it's burning Godzilla too from Godzilla versus Destroyer, which is very interesting.
Yep. Destroyer!
But yeah, I don't care about Dave the Diver. I don't understand.
Dave the Diver, you've been gone so long in the midnight sea.
Yeah. All right. So Dave the Diver. I don't think we need to stay on that anymore. What's
ads.
up? Oh, go ahead, Brian.
You know me. So Dave the Diver is actually, it's an interesting game, as in the concept. It's basic. Again, Tony won't like it for two reasons. One, he doesn't like these type of games, and two, it involves going underwater and the stuff that's there. It's kind of like a two-tier game where there's two main parts. The first is like you going underwater to get stuff from the sea, so like fish and whatnot. And the reason why you're doing that is to support your restaurant. So it's kind of like a restaurant management type stuff, and it's a really cool idea. I don't have much interest in the game. I just thought it was cool. I got shivers when I heard his theme song. I was like, I know that. You know, after all these years, I finally know that theme now. So I was like, yes. But at the same time, I was like, I don't care for the game. I just like the theme song.
Yeah, there you go.
And also, I just want to add, it seems like February is the month of things nobody asked for. I mean, Brain Stars, Madam Web, you know.
Right. You know, Madam Dead, as I'm calling it. You know.
Well, you know what it is. It's the end of the fiscal year, so you throw your weaker things at the end, right? Or you throw things that you don't have a lot of confidence at the end of the year. When the year truly starts up, that's when you get all the big impact stuff, right? So there you go.
Yeah.
It always looks good, and then it's two things. You throw your weak things, and then you throw a strong ending for your other previous things. So, like theoretically, if you wanted to get technical, Square Enix is going to be releasing 2 Final Fantasies in the same fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go, Dave the Diver. Next up, we have V Rising. I need to look this one up because I already forgot what that was. It's this over the head game. I don't know.
It was a game that I got really excited for because I thought, are they doing a Castlevania game? Like, this looks like
I thought it was, but then
it feels like it. And then it's not. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like Castlevania meets Diablo or something.
You know what I thought it really resembled? Not Castlevania, but what is it? Legacy of Kain, the original one.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like it looked very much like the character even sort of looks like a kind of a stylized, even more stylized version of what Kain looked like in the original game. But no, it's not.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say V Rising?
Yeah, V Rising. Yeah.
Yes.
Hasn't this game been out on PC forever?
Brian?
Yes, Brett.
Okay, there you go.
Cool. So it's out of early access, and now Sony's being like, "Look, we got a game."
Yes, that's what it seems to be the phase of Sony. Sony doesn't like to put out like early access games. But they'll go with games that have had full releases when they're finally released. So the Pokemon-ish game that we were talking about,
Palworld.
Palworld, that game Sony won't put on their console, but as soon as that game gets an official release, they'll jump right on that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Manny, now you mentioned it, you're right. That guy does look like Elric, because Kain also looks like Elric. Kind of interesting when you realize how many characters look like that. Alucard looks like Elric,
Elric is like the most inspiring character that no one has ever heard of.
Isn't that interesting? Because think about it, it's like, we could go down the line here, right? Even just video games, Sephiroth, Kain, Alucard. It's like you kind of all look like this one guy,
and even though it's a book Fire guy, and Ice.
The Witcher, But we're not going to go. You're right. It's like the most influential character that no one's heard of. Very interesting. All right, so yeah, there you go. V Rising. It says it's a survival game, so absolutely not interested in that. All right, moving on here. Silent Hill: The Short Message, which is out now.
Crazy. And it's for free.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the deja vu. A free Silent Hill game that releases out of nowhere. Very interesting.
Yeah, I never heard of such a thing happening.
Yeah, I never heard of anything. It's, almost like PT, PT.
Yeah.
What's that?
Post-traumatic something.
To be fair, I actually was getting
Post-traumatic-
like lots of PT vibes. Like they had the part in the
Yeah, well,
bathroom.
Brian, that's what we were alluding to.
Had the lady. I was getting like, it was kind of like Konami were like, hey, PT, let's do PT again. Like people like the PTs, don't they? Like Konami, stop.
Where
You know
it's
what we
where
want.
where did they learn this one? So Chris likes to call this game, unfortunately Chris is not here, but he likes to call this game Silent Hill Gen Z.
Oh my God.
literally, this girl hanging around with her phone, getting texts while you're walking around the horror world. So there you go. Also, it does deal with very tough subject matter. In fact, to the point where there's actually a warning at the beginning of this of the game about what's in that game. So it's interesting.
Oh yeah, because the character is trying to commit suicide, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
tried to stay away from that term because
Why?
it's a very. YouTube can be a little bit volatile. When
There's
it
a
comes to that
warning
term.
at the beginning of the show for a reason.
There's a warning.
There's a warning. Yeah. We don't get enough money. I'll say the word suicide. We're going to talk about Suicide Squad. It's like, come on now. Like we're going to stay, or we're going to just call the game Squad because of YouTube. Fuck that.
Yeah,
Suicide.
It's called S Squad.
Yeah.
When we talk about Hellboy, we're not going to call him Hellboy. We're going to call him Hello Boy.
Yeah. Heck boy, Yeah. But yeah, it's like, come on now, guys. We're going to talk about Suicide Squad here.
But yeah, so it's a sort of like, I don't know who developed it. I don't know if it's an internally developed Konami game or if it's a something else. I think it uses Unreal 5 too.
Yeah, you're right about the develop. It's interesting because right here, this article is actually pretty good because it actually tell you developers, but this one they just said developers, just Konami, but we don't know.
So I mean, I wonder because I know there's another Silent Hill game coming, which is the one with the flowers. I can't remember that. Maybe they use this as a kind of a test bed to sort of see if they can do it. Oh, funny thing about the Silent Hill franchise, it's being overseen by a former Nintendo guy.
Oh yeah,
It's fascinating. Yeah, he worked on like a Mario 64 remastered and a couple of like a Smash game and like a bunch of other things. So very interesting. This guy, that guy that you saw during the trailer, that guy. Yeah, he's a former Nintendo guy.
Cool. All right, so there you go. And then obviously the next announcement we got here was Silent Hill 2, the remake from Bloober Team. Very interesting.
I'm going to say this again. No dates.
Yeah, no date for this one at all.
We just keep seeing trailers of what the game looks like.
Yeah.
One might think there might be some sort of trouble in paradise going on with Bloober Team on this thing, especially with their recent comments saying that they're going to get into other types of game styles than horror or something like that. Like they're going to stop doing horror games. Interesting.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Silent Hill 2, guys?
Is it just me, or does the combat look janky?
Well, I mean, the original Silent Hill 2 did have janky combat, so...
Yeah, but are they trying to stay true to the original, or are they trying to do something different? Because again, they had the over-the-shoulder camera, which was not original, so what are they going for?
Yes. I don't know. It does look a little bit weird, so we'll see.
Confession. I've never played a single Silent Hill game outside of Silent Hills or PT,
Which was a walking simulator.
Yeah, which was a walking simulator. Yeah. Never played those games, so I have nothing really to offer here.
In general, the Silent Hill combat is fairly janky, but I would say Silent Hill 3 would probably be the most Tony friendly.
Yeah.
Because it has more familiar. You definitely get a lot more guns and weapons in that game than you did.
Yeah,
in there.
and I'm glad you bring that up because that was the point. It's like because back in the day, it was like you had Resident Evil or Silent Hill. I'm going with the one with the guns and the crazy monsters. The mutant monsters.
Yeah, like in the Silent Hill game, you're supposed to be a little bit powerless to whatever you're fighting against. Like you can't, you definitely can't waste bullets on everything. And if you're not careful, you'll get your ass whipped. Kind of like Resident Evil was, but a little bit more so. Could be considered a little harder. But 3 was most definitely a lot easier because she literally got like an arsenal of weapons that she could use.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. Silent Hill 2. Next up, we got Judas, Mr. Ken Levine's next game. And not surprising, looks a lot like motherfucking BioShock.
I feel like in general, Ken Levine does like hyper realistic sort of, like kind of stylized looking titles. So, according to this game, now this game has been, I don't know, how long has it been? 10 years more since he's talked about this game?
Is this the game that he said he wanted to change narrative games? Is this it?
Yes, I think this might be the game where he said, in other words, like you can get multiple different endings.
Yeah, like an infinite narrative game or something like that.
Yes.
For some reason, I thought that shit came out already. I guess I was wrong.
No, man. Yeah. He's been working on that game for years. So, but I mean, one thing about this one, as opposed to like something like a Duke Nukem Forever, you heard about it and then you didn't.
Yeah.
Unlike Duke Nukem Forever, where they're like, "Yep, still in development. Still, we got another trailer." You didn't see any trailer. You just heard he was working on something.
Yeah. No, that's true. But it looks cool. I mean, I like BioShock, so I'll definitely check it out. Even though it looks like the same tropes, like you're in one crazy encapsulated area, enclosed area with a bunch of psychos and powers and shit. It's cool.
This would be a good moment to put out a System Shock game. Oh wait, they did, didn't they?
They did. Yes, they did.
Remaster of System Shock 2.
Yes, they did. Judas looks cool. I'm there for it. And Manny, no release date, so we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Whenever Ken is ready, that's it.
Yeah, Rich, what do you think of Judas?
I agree. It does look like BioShock. I was impressed. I was going to say the targeted release date is 2025. So there's a lot of stuff happening in 2025. So we'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah,
is that when the generation's going to start?
I think that's when the generation's going to end.
Still waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, that's probably going to end because some projections were saying the PS6 may come out 2026, 2027 around that time. So,
oh wow!
And usually you have the big spurt of games come out like a year or two before the console generation ends. So I can believe that. Brett, did you get a chance to check out the trailer for Judas?
Yes, I'm very excited for Judas. I've actually heard about this before.
Yeah, what do you think? Yeah, because I know you're a big BioShock fan as well, so I want you to hear your thoughts.
Dude, I loved BioShock and all the other ones to a lesser degree, but I absolutely hate underwater because I have that phobia. So,
just like me.
Yeah, yes, like BioShock, minus that thing that gives you spine-tingling horror in the worst way possible. Generally, kind of all about, and I'm interested to see what because he's had a lot of time to take his lessons from System Shock and the BioShock games and kind of bring it forward in this project. So I'm excited about it. What I don't understand is honestly why it's part of this showcase. Like, it doesn't have a definitive date. It's not an exclusive. Why is it? Are we just being like, look, it's a game that's eventually coming to PlayStation? Like, is that what this has come to? Like, am I wrong in thinking that?
Yeah, I was about to say everybody does that too. So I hate to do a whataboutism, but Xbox does the same thing too.
No, that's more of a not a statement on Sony Xbox, more just a statement of like, is this where we've come to in like this day and age? I just turned 40, so like maybe my ass is just like looking back too much, but I'm like, fuck man, is this where we're at? Where we're not even showing exclusive games or upcoming games? Like, there's like, hey, there's a game. It's coming at some point.
Yeah, this has been done
It's
ad
been like that.
nauseum for years. Like
Yep.
it's always been the case, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, okay, yeah, I guess. I mean, I know we've gotten teasers and whatnot. Like, this just kind of feels like just fucking give us just set a date already. Like, that's what it is. I feel like people at companies are like apprehensive to set a date because so many things get delayed and so many things get changed around that they don't want to get pinned down.
The cyberpunk
like,
effect.
Exactly. I was about to say this shit all started with Cyberpunk, and it's rippling outwards into things like, not just delayed releases, but delayed releases with ambiguous release dates. I think that's what's irking me about this. Not just that they're showing it like, yeah, you're right, that's business as usual, but like you can really feel the effects from that shit, man. Even now, it's weird.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking about weird. So, Brian, you said V Rising is available now on PC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why does it have an unknown release date for PlayStation? What?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. The game's already out. I don't know.
I think it's an early access, or is it out entirely?
It's still on the Steam page now. It says early access.
Okay, that's why then.
Yeah, so it'll come out when early access is over.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Sea of Thieves is still technically in early access.
Yeah.
Some of these things are just like in a perpetual state of change, and they just never. Can anybody who works with computers explain why that might be?
Why games stay in early access?
Well, like,
because they don't need it. It's because they don't need to commit.
Well, like games stay in alpha, I guess, but why commit? Why stay in alpha when you're already out and making so much money? Is it just so that you can change things without people complaining?
Well, yeah. There's no guarantee. Like, in other words, you can change the whole game around if you want. And in other words, you have, in one way, you also have a constant stream of money.
Mm-hmm. It's a beta test that generates money.
Yeah, it's a beta test that generates money. And why do you think that other game has been in perpetual was it access? What the hell was that game?
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen. They're making more money keeping that game in development than actually releasing it. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. They keep the diehards happy. They keep doing little updates here and there, little cut the edges, and you only need that as long as you're keeping those folks happy. They'll just keep paying. So it's the same thing here.
I mean, kind of like, okay, so here's the part to get so let's take Grounded versus Sea of Thieves, right? Like, they're both on Xbox, so there's no debate on that. Like, it's a platform thing. Like, Sea of Thieves has released, it's gone through like a dozen seasons or more. It has gotten game updates. It's gotten like season rewards. It is honestly and truly probably sunsetting in its lifespan. Like, it is coming towards the tail end of its popularity. I think its player base is probably dropping off. I could be entirely wrong, but at the very least, it's kind of old at this point. I'm almost trying to think of how basically this motherfucking game is going to die while still in early access, but also have been a financial success for the better part of a decade. And I don't understand how those two things are possible.
Well, the thing again, I was like, because the idea is that it's something that'll always constantly be updated and changing, so they won't do it. I mean, to be honest, like, they won't like put a solid flag into it. Same thing, if you forget, PlayStation Home was beta until it ended.
Yeah,
it still said beta on it when you started it up. So it was something that was
that shit felt like a beta though.
Yeah, it felt like a beta, but at the same time, there's that. I think in a lot of ways, keeping it open-ended like that ends up being more lucrative for a company than to just put a flag into something and say, oh, it's done,
That's fair, but if you have a policy where you don't subscribe, you don't let quote unquote early access games on your platform, you're going to start missing out if lots of people start doing that.
Oh yeah,
but then the other things, but there's a double-edged sword to that, because maybe Sony has some sort of quality control deal going on with them, right? Even though they have Life of Black Tiger on there, which is supposedly considered a completed game, and they also had their people look it over, but I think they just have a zero tolerance policy for broken games. I mean, they literally pulled Cyberpunk off because of that.
I mean, they nope. Okay, gonna let that one go.
What's up? You lost it?
I was gonna talk some shit, and then I'm like, nah, it's not. That was just a me thing. That's not on everybody. Tony, you know the game I'm talking about.
Yeah, all right, we'll leave it be. All right.
Okay, can you just add something? Just add to what Brett was talking about. You asked a very good question, Brett, and the answer is very long and complicated as it goes down the route, and Carlos probably knows about this, of when is software complete, quote unquote. And the problem is there's no definition as to when software is complete, and that's kind of like where the problems lie. Like take for example, Warframe. That game is still technically in open beta, even though it's been in open beta since the PS4 days, and yet it still gets updated and still makes money. And then you kind of get to the point of, okay, so what's the difference between Warframe, which is on the PlayStation Store, and something like, take any other game that's come out, like Division, right? That game released a quote-unquote 1.0, but then still got tons of updates going forward, and they changed the game. So is it fair to say that the 1.0 was actually a 1.0, or was it just titled that? And that's kind of like where you get into that discussion of when is software complete, as the idea is you release the 1.0 when it's complete. But since these days, there's so many updates to so many different games, sometimes I feel like people just calling something a launch isn't really a launch, and you get games that launch broken, even though they released their 1.0. Like, does that also count as a launch, or is that just another soft launch as getting stuff out there?
Also, another question, Warframe, that's a free-to-play game, right?
Yes.
Maybe there's some sort of caveat behind that, too?
Well, no,
but then, maybe they feel that, again, I'm just making speculation. Like, maybe they feel that because it's a paid for game, that there is a certain sort of completeness that it needs to have in order to be able to put it on there. I don't know.
I bet you there's illegal.
There possibly may be like a legal thing that I'm not aware of, but then there's plenty of other free-to-play games that had their betas and then released with the version 1.0 and are still getting updated. Like, you even take something like No Man's Sky. Like, the game that we have now is different from the game that launched. So, in theory, you could even say that what launched wasn't really a complete game. It was just a beta of a game, given the state of it. And you could make that argument, and there's not really much you can discuss about that. And that's kind of like the weird point. Again, I have no answer to the question that Brad posed. I'm just stating what I know. And what I know is that it's just a big cloud of no one really knows, because there's no real definition. Like, there's no set out as to, okay, this is what it is. Again, going gold just means that you're printing discs. What you print on the disc could just be a broken mess of a game, our Cyberpunk. But that's just what it is, So you kind of get this weird thing of, I don't know what Sony's rules are on like titles and their state. It could just be a legal thing where it needs to be either free to play, whatever, or paid for 1.0 release, and that's their standard. So if it doesn't meet those standards, then it's not being on, which is, again, I have no idea. So yeah, it's a very odd answer to, well, it's a non-answer, really, and it's really annoying. Unless Carl has more information.
Like it's a good point. I think the reason why video games are doing this is because they want to blur the lines between what you mentioned is like a complete game or incomplete game or whatever is in between. Doing early access is them essentially saying, "Oh, we're releasing a game, but we're not guaranteeing quality." Kind of like how a 1.0 game will guarantee quality, and you can't really complain about it, but you're still going to pay. You know, because a lot of these aren't free to play. Some of these are, you have to actually pay. Like I think DayZ, you have to pay to get to the early access.
Yeah, but you usually pay a discounted price, like 50%.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of these developers are just doing these early accesses, and they're like, oh well, we're going to charge you, but you know, we're not going to be held accountable if the game's not completed or there's any game-breaking bugs or there's anything that people can complain about. And we don't want to do what Cyberpunk did, is release a game that was broken and then they had to refund a lot of people. So I feel like that's sort of how, you know, a lot of stuff is getting released these days. And, you know, and I feel like because of Cyberpunk, a lot of games are going to keep doing that.
Yeah. All right. Moving on here. Where are we up to? All right. We got Metro Awakening VR. The last part in there already makes me check out.
There was actually quite a decent sized leak that actually happened not long before this, and Metro was on there, and the game that follows this, it was also on there as well. So I guess in that situation they were right. It looks nice, you know, for a VR game.
Yeah. But that's the problem.
That's
VR
all I
game.
can really say.
It's a VR game.
That's all I can really say. I mean, like that company definitely has a really great looking engine, you know. It's just don't really care for VR. How about you, Brian? You know, Metro. You're probably the bigger fan of it.
I'm right there with Tony. I was excited, and then I seen, it's a VR game. Next.
That's it. That's all it takes. VR, no thanks.
Again, I do love the franchise. I'm half tempted to actually buy the books now, but at the same time, I just think that people are just not using VR to its fullest degree, and it's just kind of getting to the point where until they do, then I don't see the point in being invested in it. So most things I look at are VR. It's like it's just not there for me. It's like you have all this cool tech in there, but it just doesn't seem to be using it. So yeah, I just don't care that much, which is unfortunate. Again, it looks good.
Barry Burns says Apple VR is the best because it costs the most. It's true, that fucking headset, $3,500, man. Meanwhile, the MetaQuest Pro at its most expensive was like $1,200. It's currently $1,000, and it basically does the same shit, you know.
And I mean, what's the PlayStation one at now?
I don't even know. $500, I think. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that.
I remember there's another.
The PSVR 2. How much does shit cost?
Manny, if you're asking for the one that I'm selling,
no, PSVR 2,
not one.
Whatever.
Two was about as much as a PlayStation as I remember.
I believe it's around that price. Yeah, $500.
Yeah, so here's the thing: there was another comparable, another VR headset. I don't know if it's by Meta, but it was around the same price, and less than that actually.
I'm looking at at Amazon, and the PSVR 2 is $550.
With the PlayStation?
With the controllers, I guess. I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah, it has the little hand controllers on it.
Now, fuck that shit.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, wasn't the whole idea of the previous one is that it was the cheapest VR set on the market?
Yeah, it was
as
like
I remember.
four
At the time, yeah.
$500 around.
And then
Yeah, and then-
MetaQuest 2,
and there was no
way
other-
cheaper.
Yeah, and as I remember, one of the newer headsets that they have now that has more features actually is a lot cheaper than that.
Which one?
I don't know if it's the Meta or it's another one it's a cheaper price than that.
What, the MetaQuest 3?
Or the Labo.
Is it?
The Labo. Not that Pimax shit,
That's a Nintendo's toe dip into VR. Just make it yourself.
Yeah, right. Here's some cardboard, motherfuckers. All right. Legendary Tales VR again. VR, not interested. Don't care.
I mean, it's their they have to stick, in there.
And this one's dropping February 8th if you're interested, but I don't care. What a generic name too, by the way. Legendary Tales. Okay, bro.
Yeah. All they need to do is add a Revelations at the end, and then it'll have like all the popular titles.
That's generic as like the Legend of Heroes. Sorry, Riku. Brett, what are you gonna say?
They keep releasing stuff. Like, it's good that they're trying to support this. The problem is that you got yourself a catch-22 where, like, people don't want to buy VR because there's no real reason, and developers don't want to put a lot of money into VR because not a lot of people own the system. So it's kind of an issue. And, like, I think the problem is VR has not had a killer app. This is not it, but, like, it just... I don't honestly know what that killer app is. We could probably sit here and discuss it for fucking ever, but
no, we can't because it doesn't exist. There is no discussion. There is no existing killer app for any VR, as in my opinion.
Should just put Skyrim in VR.
Didn't they do that already?
I think it's all been mods. I don't think they've done it in an official capacity.
I thought they did.
I thought they did too.
Did they? Am I wrong? Okay. Shows how much I know.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Brett. That didn't work.
I haven't been keeping up on the VR.
Clearly. Yeah. I don't blame you, but
it's on the Steam store since 2018.
No, there you go. And that didn't set the world on fire.
I don't know. Yeah, man. I don't know what you need.
Because it doesn't work. That's why nobody wants to come home at the end of the day and strap on a fucking headset to play games.
But I do. I just want them to be good.
Yeah, and conversely, nobody wants to do that. For work. Oh, it'd be time to go to work. Put this headset on. Work in spatial. Stop it.
Dude, do you know how many fat people we have that need to move and work out?
Yeah, it's like, stop it. Nobody wants to work like that.
Why? Dude, would you rather do workout or play video games? If they can get it to work, that's fine. That's great. Like
but like you said, give people something compelling, man. Instead of fucking tech demos, That's all those are at the end. It's just glorified tech demos.
They need to really nail the treadmill, I think. And they're doing real good, but I don't think they're quite there yet.
No. All right. What else?
They need to bundle that shit.
With the treadmill?
Bundle the headset and the treadmill.
It'll cost even more then.
I don't give a shit. You need both to have the experience. And you need to have both so that developers develop for both.
That'll be a lot. We complain about the price of one headset. Imagine a headset with a treadmill,
Dude, $1,000. You know how much people just drop on a regular ass treadmill?
Yeah, like a Peloton and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. If they're inclined to get healthy, some people may be like, fuck that shit, I'm going to keep eating Doritos and be happy.
Look, I do that just to play video games. And then, like, the side bows be like, get healthier.
Yeah. But I don't know
if you had, like, a good app, like, if you put that strap on, put me on that treadmill, and that shit actually worked, fuck, dude, I'd shell out $1,000 so fast. I shelled out $600 for a fucking Steam Deck.
Yeah, well, it's Steam Deck,
What does that mean?
It's awesome. That's what it means.
And a working VR set wouldn't be a truly working one.
Yes, but I don't think we're quite there yet.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a demand, there's a market. It's just not quite there yet.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying now. All right, moving on here. All right, Brian, here's where the show picks up. Dragon's Dogma 2, March 22nd, definitive release date. So there you go.
Yep, that shit looks good.
It's looking very Monster Hunter-y these days.
People say that Monster Hunter got elements from Dragon's Dogma. People were even saying that some of the bosses from Monster Hunter remind them of characters from Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, because wasn't the first Dragon's Dogma before World?
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go. I think that's the way it actually went. They were like, hey, Monster Hunter was like, oh shit, look what Dragon's Dogma did. Let's do that. You know, it's all Capcom, you know.
They both ripped off Tears of the Kingdom.
Of course, yeah. Remember, Tears of the Kingdom was so influential. It influenced games that came out before it. It's like the sphere just spreads out throughout time of influence. But yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2 looks cool, you know.
Looks very cool. One of the things I like is the weapon swapping. There was a part where the wizard had the giant ass claymore, and I was like, okay, you can do that? Okay, you got me.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else want to have any thoughts on Dragon's Dogma 2? All right. Next up here, Rise of the Ronin. Team Ninja game coming out March 22nd, same day as Dragon's Dogma. Yeah, Rich, you have any thoughts on Rise of the Ronin?
Well, I'm very interested in this game. I must admit, when I saw the character flying, I was like, okay, I don't know if I like that particular mechanic, but I'll give it a try and check it out. Sure, why not?
I get a very Assassin's Creed vibe out of
it. Very much so. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind that because Japan needs we've been asking for Japan Assassin's Creed for a long time now, haven't we, Ubisoft?
Well, you're finally getting it with Assassin's Creed Red, you know.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely got a lot of vibe, and I kind of like the time period because it's like when the Western influences started to seep in, you know.
Yes.
Very cool stuff, you know. So we'll see.
It's and that's a PlayStation Studios Techno Koei thing. So that means PlayStation essentially partially paid for that game to come out.
Yeah.
So do we count that game for Carlos, or he said no because PlayStation didn't make the game, so we can't count that as a release?
Maybe it's a partial.
Is it a first party release or a first party published game?
There you go.
For published.
That's
right?
what. Yeah. Yes.
By the way, this is. I mean, this is so many games put into one, man.
It kind of is. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, Ghost of Tsushima, like it's got a lot of different games in this. But it looks pretty decent.
It definitely has that what I call Japanese-ness to it. You know what I mean? Like the way the characters move. Something about it feels very like.
Yeah.
Very much like a Japanese developed game. Like.
I agree. Looks interesting. We'll see. All right. Next up, we got Until Dawn Remaster. I didn't know people were asking for this.
Why do hey, Until Dawn that actually runs decent, because if you all remember playing that game was plagued with slowdown and frame skips and all kinds of stuff. So finally you get a version of Until Dawn where everything will run at least at 30 frames per second.
Well, it'll be 60 now. It better be 60.
60? I mean, it didn't look 60 to me in that trailer.
Well, if it's only running 30, that's a problem, you know?
All right.
Well, it's maybe running 60 on the PC version. So there's that.
All I can say is thank God.
Yeah, because it's a joint release, right? It's a PC and a PlayStation 5 release. There you go.
Yeah, so whatever.
I have been waiting for this.
Oh, for the remaster?
Yeah, just with bated breath. I mean,
Yeah,
thank
you're
God
right.
it is about time. I've been playing this on the last platform it was released on, just being like, man, I really wish the fidelity were higher on this game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a true story that actually happened.
Back in the olden days, was it a PlayStation 3 game? Wasn't it? Right? Or
Yes.
4?
PS4 game.
The PS4 game.
That was
PS4
great.
Man,
Mhm.
and even
I
back
remember
then, that game was going to set your PlayStation on fire. Okay. Reason why I thought it was a 3 game is because it started as a PlayStation 3 development, as I remember.
Jesus.
All I remember is Hip Hop Gamer talking a lot about the people's teeth and how real they look.
Yo, so real. Yo, they got teeth.
Yo, let me get my cousin.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's PS4 game. 2015.
Yeah.
I remember that was a big game when
it doesn't even seem like that game is that old.
No, the game's fucking almost 9 years old now.
Yeah, it's old.
That's crazy.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, it is 9 years old, but it's also just one generation back. We haven't even started getting I guess we just finally started getting exclusives. So like, this feels like you guys just stopped making PS4 games, and now you're remastering PS4 games.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jesus Christ.
So,
And that is why I was not. That's why I had no excitement for the state of play, because of everything you mentioned and Carlos mentioned. It's like, which is why when Tony and Manny said that this was good, I wanted to know why, because I'm like, I don't understand it. Seriously, I was like tempted to like jump in like Tony's intro and ask them like why, but I was like, no, I will wait. I will listen.
Now you gotta wait for the punchline.
Yeah.
well,
Remember, like I said, it's not the whole show. It's like certain like spotlights. You got Stellar Blade, you got Death Stranding, you got Rise of the Ronin. You know.
Yeah, but it's kind of like we've seen those. Like they're not doing anything, and then I'll say that part for when we get there. But yeah, it's like they already announced these games. Like yes, they get release dates, great, but at the same time, it's like it's remaster. It's game that's already out on PC. It's games we've known about. It's like
I think I understand where you're coming from, but I'm like it was a good mix of stuff for me. Like again, I'll just even rattle off right now highlights for me, because I only need really good 5 solid games. Right, we got Stellar Blade, we got Judas, we got Dragon's Dogma 2. I'm throwing that in there too, Brian. Rise of the Ronin and Death Stranding. I'm like, that's good. That's a good show to me. You know.
I mean, like for the Until Dawn thing, actually, I
don't give a fuck about Until Dawn. I don't give a shit about that.
That wasn't revealed. In fact, that was actually another one of the leaked things that came out like maybe a week or two before. So yeah, so it wasn't announced, but I mean, it's like it's not really a leak because nobody cared. So
Until Dawn.
Hey Tony,
what's up? Wait, Rich first, and then Brett.
I just want to make a quick comment about Until Dawn. I know our very good friend Adam Vale was very frustrated with this game and the QuickTime buttons, because we had a lot of conversations because I know I got that platinum trophy and he was trying to get that, but he said, "Nah, man, forget this."
I remember
because the QuickTime events. So I don't know if he's going to go back, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah, Brett, what's up?
Just kind of level the playing field. I wanted to ask you, what 3 AAA exclusives are you excited for?
They don't exist. We discussed this already. You know?
No. Because remember, this is the metric that we were talking about. Like, that's what we decided was the metric to decide if Xbox could be satisfactory or not. So I'm just kind of being like, okay, so that's
we discussed this already. Xbox has more exclusives coming out this year than PlayStation. We discussed this already.
Yeah, but you still need like at least 3, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
but again, all the Sony exclusives this year are all third parties. Again, we've already discussed
it doesn't have to be this year.
What do you mean it doesn't have to
be this year? Even then, like, I'll just take exclusives. It doesn't have to be first party. Just Sony, the AAA Sony exclusives. You got 3 of them you're excited for?
Like in general?
Yeah, let's justify the PS5, man. So, man, you just got one.
Okay, again, Manny got.
Oh
one
no,
for,
I totally justified it. I got silver plates for it now.
Yeah, no, he got Spider-Man 2 was obviously one. Ratchet and Clank is another one. And still waiting for a third game. You know. Whereas, again, if we're doing a comparison, whereas Xbox, you know, it's like where
I'm putting my PlayStation through the paces. You know, by playing Power Wash Simulator.
Oh,
You
really?
need a PlayStation 5 to play that.
Yeah.
I wondered who would play that game, and here you are.
Here I am playing a game about cleaning shit. That's the low.
Yeah, but to be fair to Xbox, they do have one exclusive I'm looking forward to, Hellblade. But again, I'm not going to buy that on Xbox. So I don't know on Xbox. I have a PC, so but they do have that. they do have Hellblade at least.
And being that you are part of the master race now, you have to support the PC.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question, Brett, but there you go.
I find it funny how Manny's playing a game about cleaning stuff as he dusts off the dust of his PS5.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't dust off my PS5. I literally changed the plates off of the dusty white PlayStation 5, and it'll now be a dusty silver PlayStation 5.
But Brett, this belies the point. I've been yelling about this for 4 years now. This generation is horrible all around. It's really, this generation has really made me lose my enthusiasm for gaming as a whole. You know,
Well, I do not know.
Like I'll be honest, I'm
different realities.
What happened? No, again, but let me finish. I'm being super fucking real right now, right? If it wasn't for this podcast, I would have checked out of gaming. I would have checked out 2 years ago. There's nothing exciting happening in gaming for me. Like, I can't just, like, if somebody goes, oh, you know, tell me which console to buy. I would tell them, don't buy a console, get a PC instead. It's boring, you know. It's like even the highlights, right? You know, Spider-Man 2 and Ratchet and Clank, great games, but they're not fucking blowing me away either, you know. This has been the bleakest, and this is why gaming isn't even my main hobby anymore. I don't like. There's nothing exciting out there right now. I'm trudging through this fucking Suicide Squad game. You know, it's been dismal, man. So it's like, yes, we could compare PlayStation and Xbox. To me, they're both bad. You know, they're just. My again, being real here. I'm losing my enthusiasm for this hobby, man.
Wait. We should just change our show's name to the War Zone.
Yeah, right. No, but the difference is I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. There's a difference, you know.
Oh, okay.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I'm very deeply disappointed.
Another bald man loses his enthusiasm for gaming. What happened, Tony?
Yeah, well, gaming, you know, like I've said in a previous show when we were asked about this, it's not that I fell out of love with gaming. Gaming fell out of love with me. They're not giving me the things I want anymore. You know, so
I'm gonna.
What can I say?
Weird. I'm having a fucking.
I know you are
renaissance over here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say this,
I'm really happy. I envy that, Brett. I really do, man.
I'm gonna say this. A lot of this flat line between video games. I've not you know me. I've never really played games to that level. I always sort of played it kind of like the way I used to play it, even when I was young. Where, in other words, you wring out as much as you can from the game that you're currently playing. Now, I mean, the games that I like are somewhat few and far between, but there's usually a good amount of time that I'm sort of playing one title. You know, so I'm not bugged by this. I do have a couple of things that I might be playing that are a little bit older, but that's about it. I don't think it's dismal. I just think it's not. They're not firing on all cylinders, but that's okay for me. and that's about it. Because that's again just talking about my gaming habits as of late.
Logic One says it could be that Tony has burnout. I can't be burnt out because there's no fucking games to play, man. It's just the games I have been playing are not on the level of the games that where they used to be before, and for reasons I'm not going to get into on this podcast. But we're kind of going off topic here. I want to get to the last game here, which I actually am excited about. Actually, I'm excited. There's still excitement is still there in pockets, you know. Motherfucking Death Stranding 2. Yes, Brian, I know it's been announced. But we got a big look. This trailer is the most Kojima fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is bananas, man. And I loved it. I'm like, you got fucking Troy Baker with a guitar fighting a robot baby? Like, that is some Kojima ass shit. You know, a robot ninja cyborg baby or whatever the fuck was going on. Wild, man. You know,
and George Miller and the other director as cameos inside of it. For me on this, I'm going to wait until it is seen more, because to be honest, I'm not really that excited for it. I mean, I'm not that excited to go back into that Death Stranding world. It's not as it was bad. It's just such a bleak world that I didn't want to
there
continue.
It is. It's the bleakness that got you.
And that's it. I mean, like a lot of that stuff at the time, like and also when at the time that I played it sort of, some things hit pretty difficult at the time. And I even though I have the Death Stranding for like
you got that shirt, baby.
I mean, I do have a shirt, but I mean, like even me playing the I could play the PlayStation 5 version, and you could do I did the rollover save, and the possibility came along of me playing, to get that platinum trophy, just do the final bits of new gameplay in there, and I just said, you know what, I don't want to do it. So that's sort of the situation I'm in here right now. Like looking at that game, would I want to go back to that again? I don't know. So that's the real crux of it all.
Yeah. I'm there day one, whenever the fuck that is. It just says 2025. That's all we got here.
Yeah. Which I brought this up while we were in before we started the show. Like it's this version, this Death Stranding game actually took longer to develop than the previous one. The other one was about maybe 4 years or possibly 3 years, depending on when Kojima started, 3 or 4 years. This one is was it going on 6, right?
Yeah, pretty much. If it comes out 2025, as they say, yes, 6 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely think that this game, at least from what they're showing, it definitely looks like it's a much larger, larger environment in this one. So maybe that's what extended the time.
Yeah. It seems like there's different areas you get to explore now, instead of just a big mountain area or whatever like before. Pretty cool. I mean,
stuff. It was like mostly rainy like places. So now you're walking around a desert, Yeah,
that was kind of cool. Yeah, I'm all over it. Anybody else have any thoughts on Death Stranding? Rich, what do you think?
I definitely plan on picking this up because I would like to see how the story continues. But I have to say this. The announcement that came after this.
Yes, let's talk about that.
That is what I'm looking forward to. That's what I've been looking forward to since Kojima started his own studio.
What, the movie?
So, no.
well, yes, kind of. So yeah, let's get to that because that's came out of nowhere, Mm-hmm. So yeah, Kojima said he is working on, let's just say, a new stealth game, right? But in true Kojima style, it's going to be a fusion of gaming and movies. But I'm like, we've heard this before. Remember when fucking Quantum Break was supposed to do that? So I'm skeptical about that part. But Kojima stealth, give me that shit. Because we ain't getting it with fucking Metal Gear anymore. And yes, I know the remake or whatever of Metal Gear Solid 3 is coming out. By the way, that's how my whole outlook on gaming is dismal, when my favorite game of all time is getting remade and I don't give a shit. You know, that tells you something right there. You know, but the stealth game,
to be
a
fair,
new stealth game from Kojima, I'm interested, man.
To be fair, your other favorite game of all time was remade last year. You didn't give a shit, and you still played it.
Which one?
Resident Evil 4.
I didn't play a lot of it, to be honest.
Oh.
Again, it's like
that was more Chris's favorite game.
Yeah, that wasn't really that.
honest.
Resident Evil 4 is not even in my top 10, Carlos. To be honest,
You said it was a perfect 10.
it is a perfect 10, but it's not one of my perfect 10s. Remember, that's the objective stance I was giving you. You know, but remember, there's a difference between like objectively good and then your favorite. Two different things. You know. Anyway, but yeah, again, Metal Gear. Whatever, gives a fuck. But yes, Kojima stealth game, give me that shit. But again, he says he's not gonna start developing this game until after Death Stranding 2 drops. So this shit ain't coming out until PS6. Let's just be real here.
So
You know?
I mean,
So it's one of those things where it's like put a pin on it and don't even think about it anymore. You know?
more in usual fashion, set it and forget it. Because to be honest, like he's got OD whatever coming through Xbox, and then he's got you know Death Stranding coming through PlayStation. Yeah, we're probably not going to see this until PS6 time. And if it's, to be honest, okay, it's nice that they managed to, they got him to come back to do something that was somewhat familiar, but at the same time, why did we even need to announce it at this time?
I agree with you on that.
Especially, it gets people talking, but all it is just vapor until it actually is happening. To be honest, I would have much preferred this come after the release of Death Stranding. Like they actually do this.
I agree.
You spent all this time on just like a teaser for something that we're not going to see for years. It's probably going to take this dude 5 years, after Death Stranding to develop this game.
It may be a PS7 game.
2010.
2030 at the earliest.
2030. Sorry, 2030. It's going to take him till 2030. That's when that game is going to come out.
Yeah.
Watch.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, listen, I'm going to put a pin on it, and then I'm not going to think about it again for a while. Some motherfuckers may not even be alive by that time, It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah. So we'll see. But it's interesting regardless because it is giving people kind of what they want. People want a Kojima stealth game,
And Kojima wants attention, so
yeah,
win-win. I guess.
I'm surprised Jeff Keighley to show up. And now,
I'm surprised that what's his Herman Holt didn't turn into Jeff Keighley. or maybe he got Kojima got a call from Jeff saying, "Yeah, hey man, how come you just gave me OD when I could have had future games?"
Phil's calling.
Action espionage.
Uncle Phil's calling.
Yeah.
Well, it has a name. They actually showed it at the end. It's like,
it's something I can't pronounce.
Yeah, it sounds. Yeah,
well, come on, man. You can say suicides. You can say this.
No. It's not that I can't pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like phalanx or some shit. Like.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
I said that wrong. It's not that I can't say. I don't know how to say it.
Letters.
But let's give it a shot. Let's look this up. What the fuck is this shit? Kojima stealth, right?
Stealth espionage. I'm surprised the director didn't show up for this.
What's the name of this shit? Do they even have it? Here we go. Fizzant.
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 It sounds like a medicine for old people. Side effects include erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, right.
Nightmares.
Sysant. Again, I don't know how to pronounce this shit. Sysant. So it's spelled PHYSINT.
So I think that's the working
So
title.
Physant.
That's the work. That's the
Physant?
working title. Yeah. Physant.
Physint. I'm trying everything right now, you know. Physant. I don't know. Pysant. I don't know, man.
Pysant.
I need to remove the H. H is silent, but deadly, you know? By the way, I found it weird that Kojima was wearing this big-ass coat. I'm like, take off your coat, bro. What are you doing? It's like he just rolled off the street, you know?
I mean, you know, there was a, you know, you could almost place where he is, you know, place what point you see Kojima by what he's wearing. So if you probably look through all of Kojima's tweets, you could probably see when this thing was filmed.
Yeah.
Because he didn't post.
But yeah,
Homeboy was posting all kinds of stuff, you know, like him being in America and all that other stuff. So,
but yeah, that's what bothered me about that presentation. Like, what's with the coat, man? Like, I don't understand the coat. You know? I don't get it.
I mean, just like in the OD trailer, maybe there's a bunch of hidden things like inside of it. I remember in the OD one, they found all these hidden letters. And all the
Man's not hot. Good one, Barry. Oh man! All right, there you go. State of play, and we're actually getting another state of play soon. Final Fantasy centric one, baby. It's coming. You know, and that's all I'm going to say about Final Fantasy VII for now, Rich. You already know. Good stuff. All right, I want to move on. Wow, I actually went longer than I thought. So, I mean, we'll still get to some of the other topics. They're a little bit more just quick hits, but we do need to go into this one, man. Because, Rich, this is the reason I specifically wanted you on. A change of situation, though, because we're going to talk about Suicide Squad. Suicide, YouTube. Suicide. We're saying it live, you know, because I know you had played the game and I wanted your thoughts, but then, you know, interesting twist. I ended up not only playing the game, but I'm also going to be reviewing the game. As a matter of fact, if you guys are listening to this on Friday morning, you can head over to Tom's Guide. My hands-on preview is already live. I wanted to write a short preview, but I fucking just talk too much. It's a long preview. Anyway, so let's talk about Suicide Squad. And Rich, to quote you, this game is very controversial, isn't it? Lots of controversy with this game, you know? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, it is very controversial. A lot of people impacted by this game, but continue. I'll let you start this off, and then I will give my thoughts.
Yeah, okay, so let's, you know, regarding the, who's following us on Twitch here? I can't read that name, but shout out to you. So this all started, like, I think they had the public beta on Monday, I believe, right? Or whatever the fuck it was. Actually, no, we got to go back a little bit further. So they had like an alpha like release or something last week or something, and people played it, including our homeboy Joey Polanco. You know, my nephew. I'm calling him. Sometimes he's my nephew, sometimes he's my cousin. It changes, you know. But you know, it was a public alpha or beta or whatever, and a lot of people were like, "Yo, this game is kind of whack," you know. And IGN they were like, "Yeah, this ain't it." And then you know, review codes were not sent out to people, including IGN. And people thought that IGN didn't get it because they dunked on the game. No, nobody got the fucking codes until a couple of days ago. I didn't get my code until Wednesday night, you know. And Rich, I believe you got your code around the same time as well, you know. So so that was controversial, right? You know, when you don't get your codes early, you already know the studio doesn't have confidence in the game. So that happened. And then on Monday, you know, I think if you pre-order the game, you get it like early access to it. Yo, Rocksteady fucked up, right? There was a bug that like when you logged in, it had game completion. And in this game, you could check out all the cutscenes after the fact. All that shit went up. All of it, you know? Yo, by the way, Carlos, those leaks, people covered those. Isn't that interesting?
Uh-oh.
We couldn't talk about Insomniac, but we could talk about this. Very interesting. But I will say, Throwdown covered Insomniac's leaks and these leaks. We're consistent around this house. Anyway, so that came out, right? And then people saw the ending of the game. where a certain beloved character, voiced by a legendary voice actor, was unceremoniously taken out. A lot of emotions happened, and there was a bunch of other cutscenes that were just very, very questionable. So I'm not sure how this game's gonna do. Here's the thing: we already questioned this game as soon as we found out it was a fucking live service game, a looter shooter. Mm-hmm. As soon as we heard about that, oh, here we fucking go. And that's now getting into the actual gameplay, right? That's the sense I got when I played it, and I believe that's the headline I went with, where I basically said, "You're late to the party, pal." Had this game released 6 or 8 years ago, when like these kind of games were big, Destiny, The Division, it would have been cool. It's like, oh, it's a superhero version of these games. This is cool. Now we're fucking 8 years out after Avengers came out, and people are like, what the fuck is this shit? The mission structure is boring as fuck. They're all basically the same. And I'm not talking about they're all the same within the game. We're talking about the same that you've seen in every other looter shooter, right? Defend this spot against a horde of enemies and do that ad nauseum for every fucking mission, Boring as fuck, Again, I haven't beat the whole game yet. The story seems kind of interesting, but I think it's only because I'm a DC guy. I know the characters and stuff. But even some of that shit's fucked up too. Yeah, I just saw a video with King Shark. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm like, have you guys read the comic books? Do you realize this doesn't work the way? Anyway, so yeah, gameplay's boring, but the graphics are really nice. I'll give them that. Apparently, it's Unreal Engine 4, not 5. But it looks really fucking good, But yeah, my main takeaway is this game, very dull, very repetitive, and yeah, like you guys, you were really late. I understand this game's been in development for 8 years or so, and it shows, But yeah, Rich, what are your early thoughts on Suicide Squad?
Well, let me just say this real quick. There is another layer of controversy that I would like to expose before I get into the impressions. Now, you made a comment that, there was a public beta that went out, and there was a lot of people that had a lot of bad things to say. Well, prior to that, there was a closed beta that certain influencers and content creators got a hold to, and then WB told them, you all guys are under a strict NDA. You are not allowed to talk about this game at all. So when WB saw the negative press, then they went back to those influencers and said, okay, yes, please talk about the game. Cause we need to, we got to get some positive stuff out here. Cause I know quite a bit of people that were a part of that closed beta. They couldn't talk about it. Then all of a sudden they were able to talk about it. So I did want to call that out because, WB definitely they're trying to make sure this game has some positive feedback because they knew the game was about to come out. Now, as for my impressions, I went into this game with a lot of questions. I thought to myself, this is about the Justice League, right? Is this going to do the characters justice, or is it just ass? And my main takeaway is that the game is pretty bad. I mean, the story, as you said, the story is somewhat interesting, but certain stuff that happens in that story, it doesn't make any kind of sense. It is a grind fest with a lot of the same mission. The mission structure you said, yes, I agree, that is 100% boring. The traversal that the characters have, you get to try out the traversal of every character, but it's just like even that can become a grind fest as well. Like for example, Deadshot. I chose that character because I wanted to see how they were going to handle the character. Of course, he has this jetpack. You have to press the button, and then it reaches a certain gauge. Then you have to let it charge up again. And obviously, there are certain things you can do to evade. To give it a quick time of a quick time to recover, but it's just that gets very tiresome doing that across the entire city.
Oh my god! Sorry, I don't mean to. Why do they do that to jetpacks? Who would design a jetpack like that? It makes no sense. what fuel are you using that replenishes itself? It doesn't make any, it's the dumbest. It mechanically, everybody hates it. Logically, it doesn't make any sense. Stop designing jetpacks like this, or I'm done.
I agree.
I'm so glad you brought that
1000%.
up. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, why are you running out of fuel and then you just magically refuel? Anyway, go on, Rich.
Yeah, and it's just that the way they handle some of the characters, I know obviously it's supposed to be comedy with the team stuff. I will just say this, I think I'm a little bit fatigued of all of the superhero movies we've had where there were teams having comedy. Like, the Suicide Squad movie that James Gunn did, I thought it was okay. Obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought that was great. But now that I'm playing this game, I'm like, man, I'm tired of this team comedy dynamic. It feels like they're just trying to copy what's already been done.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not really a fan of that. And then, of course, let's get to the controversial scene you mentioned about a certain character that gets killed. Now, I don't know if we're going to talk about which character it is. I'm just going to say this.
Yeah, let's skirt around it. We're not going to say it, but you heard, but it's called Kill the Justice League. What did you expect? Like, oh, shut the fuck up, bro. Anyway, go on.
So I will say this. Earlier in the game, this particular character almost kills another character. So I understand why they did that, but I still think, personally, if the goal of the game, and again, I haven't beat the game yet, you're probably further than me, but I will say this. If the goal of the game is to kill the Justice League, I would think part of the strategy in taking them out is exposing their weaknesses. You know that the Flash is a very fast character. Find a way to slow him down and take him out. I mean, this is how I think that they should have thought about that. And then, of course, other characters. I mean, I just think they could have done a better job with that. If you're going to take them out a certain type of way, make it a very glorious moment, not just a one shot, bam, bam, that's it, you're dead. I thought that was very ridiculous.
I got to bring this up. This is the same studio that brought us some of the greatest boss fights of all time, and they failed in that respect. That's pretty wild, man.
Yes.
Like think about those Arkham games. Those boss fights, especially in Arkham City, were fucking incredible. But
you realize
Manny, I know what you're going to say, because those were single player games. This has to accommodate for 4 players. That's the problem.
Not to mention that, and also the fact that they have to. Those situations were locked down.
Yeah,
you don't have a world around you. You don't have all this other shit going around. You just, you're in that arena and you fight. Spider-Man even does it too. Like, they don't give you boss battles in the open world. They give you boss battles in arenas.
Yep. So you could keep
every
it all
single
contained.
one of those.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right about that. But anyway, go on, Rich. Yeah, the boss battles. I haven't gotten into. I haven't experienced a boss battle yet. I heard they're actually decent, but they can't allow that level of direction that you could in like an older game. And this is why, and I'll say this too, I'll let you go. This is why I felt Arkham Knight was a lesser game than the first two, because that was open world. Everything had to happen in the open world. There was less control. There was less scripting in like some of the fights, and it lost that flavor to it. Anyway, go on.
I agree 100% with what you just said. And my biggest issue with this game, and I believe you guys mentioned this on the previous show, this is a game that should in no way be affiliated with the Arkham universe. Yeah. When they said that this is a Arkham game, obviously, if you played the first 2 Arkham games, you know how great those games were. The co-creators of the studio are no longer a part of Rocksteady. So obviously, they started their own studio. But I know why they did it, because they're trying to continue. And then again, things like the Riddler trophies, this is in the game as well. So obviously they're putting stuff in there to try to make it feel like, yes, this is part of the connected universe. But I just think, like, they have a Joker character that is a Elseworlds character that is going to be releasing maybe tomorrow. I don't have access to the character yet, but that particular character is releasing at launch and is a playable character. So I don't know why this particular game couldn't have just been a Elseworlds type of character universe instead of it being in the connected universe. But I think that's the biggest issue I have is they're trying to tie it to the Arkham universe. And because then you have all these expectations. I mean, I had a ton of memories from those 2 Arkham games. So coming into this game, it is underwhelming because I'm thinking, well, where's the quality at? Like you said, graphically, the game looks great in certain areas. The story, I guess, is okay, but I'm not that far into the story, but it's just the actual playing the game, it feels like a slugfest. It feels like I will have to sit down, and it's very funny because there's a mission in the game where, the Suicide Squad decides, we need to try to get these chips out of our head, get this bomb out of our head, and then, of course, that's how I felt playing this game. Like Amanda Waller had a gun to my head and said, "You need to play this game." And I said, "No, man. I don't think I'm going to finish this game." But I don't know. I very disappointed. That's what I will say. Very underwhelming.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I feel the same way, man. Like I'm for now, especially now that I have to really review the game. Like I'm forcing my way through this, man, as fast as possible. It is not a pleasant experience, man. Same boring missions over and over and over. But again, that's how these live service games are, And Rich, maybe you and I should get together. Maybe it'll be more fun that way because we still I still got to test that aspect, the co-op. But you're right. Seeing this once mighty studio, how low they could go, and I'm not saying it's the worst game ever. Like even in my preview, I said this game is not as bad as I expected, right? But when you've seen the highs that the studio is able to deliver over 10 years ago, it's a big come down, man. It really is. Yeah, very disappointing.
Think about it. The last Arkham of the Arkham games that came out was 2015.
2015. Yep.
and it's assumed that all the while they've been working on this thing.
Yeah, because they started working out. And I want to say this too, because some people were like kind of, I'm going to just say it. I think they were hoping it's like, oh, but it's not really tied to the Arkham universe. There's a whole section in the beginning of the game where you're going through a museum that walks through every story beat of those games. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, oh, it's somewhat tied. It is a direct sequel to that. So seeing how, and I'm not, the way they.
But how is it?
Yeah.
But how is it that they work Batman in there? It didn't in the Arkham games. A certain thing happened at the end of the game that
they reference that
there's no more Batman.
Yeah, no, they reference that, and that's part of the thing. Everybody, and that game's fucking 10 years old. 10 years old. We say at the end of Batman Arkham Knight, everybody knows he's Bruce Wayne, and that plays into this game. Everybody knows he's Bruce Wayne. But. Again, I'm not going to get into the whole controversy thing, and I'll say this because obviously when I saw it, I was very upset. But then I, really thought about it. It's like, am I really? I shouldn't have been upset because this is something that Hollywood and these people in general have been doing for like 2016. Just kill your heroes, right? Or just disgrace them. Look what happened to Luke Skywalker. Look what happened to Han Solo. Look what happened to Indiana Jones. Look what happened to Picard. It's like, this is all the same thing. We're going to destroy everything you love. So I shouldn't have been that surprised,
It's an interesting thing because it's like, the thing about it is that it's like, it's like once the big guys realize something is liked by people, then they start trying to get into weeds and start trying to dictate the direction of the franchise and away from what it classically was. And I think that's a lot that happens a lot of times. Like, Spider-Man 3, that was the studio getting involved and saying, instead of letting Sam Raimi make the movie that he wanted to make, the studio got involved and said, no, it has to have this, it has to have that. And that's what those last 2 Batman games were. It was literally the companies, Warner Brothers probably saying like, hey, listen.
Oh, Gotham Knights you're talking about now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Look, to both of those games were both service games.
Yeah.
And they both flopped. That other one flopped, and this one, is about to flop because they're looking. And I'm saying this even before the damn thing it's out now.
It's gonna flop. It's gonna flop.
it's gonna flop because it's nothing close to what people wanted in there. Like I could see if they would decided to go down the line and put out a free to play game with a bunch of this stuff in there. That's fine. That doesn't disturb anything. But when you have a franchise that are so classically connected to plot and storyline, why not make a Harley Quinn game? Just make if you want to go down the line of doing this sort of thing, why not do a Harley Quinn game? If you wanted to do this sort of idea, as opposed to like, okay, look, everybody's in it. No, it doesn't work.
And if I recall correctly, they are working on the Wonder Woman game too.
Yeah, they are.
They announced that. So.
Oh yeah, that was announced. But I mean, again, like now since by the way, the founders of Rocksteady pieced out literally like a week before this thing dropped. How long? When did this come out?
This game is coming out. This game is coming out.
No, not game. It's not this game was coming out. January 18th is about when they pieced out, and they said they're creating a new 100-person company. The two co-founders. Yep. So what does that fucking tell you? Yeah, what does that fucking tell you that Kill the Justice League was? What kind of environment it was developed with? I think they stuck around, until the damn thing was done, and that's it.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think they were like, we don't want to deal with Warner Brothers shit anymore. So I agree. Yeah,
I mean, and isn't that always the thing? Big company, especially all the different things that are going on in Warner Bros. Big company buys a studio. To be honest, that's the worst thing that could have happened to those guys.
By the way, I do want to mention something Tony inferred. About superheroes being disrespected.
Not just superheroes, like heroes in general, like people,
or heroes in
characters that people loved in their childhood just being disrespected.
Yes. So that's an interesting thought, because I feel like the irony of it all is the reason why this happens is because these heroes aren't left to die. They keep bringing them back up.
That's the problem.
And
Yeah.
it's, and it's like, well, Batman is what is it? 60, 70, 80 years. I don't know how long this been going, but it's been going for almost a century. And eventually you're going to get, these shitty stories where, people who are handling the character, are from 3, 4, 5 generations after the original people that made the character. So, that's what happens when these heroes are taken from, a completely different, era that when even they thrived or they were created, and it's, and that's just what happens. If they don't let these characters die, that's why they end up killing them. Ironically, now.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a kind of problem with comics in general, like superhero comics. They just go on and on and on. And again, this is one of the reasons I love Invincible, Carlos. It has an ending. It ends.
There's an old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I feel like that's the case for a lot of the franchises. I think they get to every single one of them gets to that point where they want to oversaturate the market, and then what happens? Yeah. People start getting sick of it, and then now everything that even the things that might end up being good. Coming out some here, it all is going to get affected just because they decided, oh well, we need more, and that's what happened in comics. What's happened in comics before, right? In the 90s, when they flooded the market with a bunch of books, you had to read all the different Spider-Man books to understand what's going on in another Spider-Man book. It's the same sort of bullshit that's going on now, just in movies and films and games.
Yeah, but that's go ahead.
There should be no reason why there's 3 Star Wars trilogies about the Skywalker family.
Yeah,
it's like three trilogies. That's 9 movies. And they pretty much told. Yeah, go ahead, Rich. It's crazy.
Carlos, that's a very popular family. I guess they want to make sure we know every generation of Skywalker that that comes through.
Oh yeah.
I am sorry to be that guy, but Actually, the third trilogy isn't about a Skywalker because she's not a Skywalker.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But no, but what is it? Ben Solo is.
Yeah, but it's not his story. So,
Well, I mean,
and a
but Skywalker is they're on all those movies. That's all. That's all people care about, anyways. They don't care about.
I will give you that. And just in case people ask, just because she says that she's a Skywalker, doesn't make her a Skywalker. That's not how things work.
Yeah, just because you say you're a thing doesn't mean you're the thing. Like, no.
Damn it, Tony, you have to go there.
Yeah, I said it.
Mhm.
You know. So yeah, Suicide Squad. Dead on it. I can't even say dead on arrival. It's just dead. It's like it committed suicide. You know.
Yep. On day one.
Day 0, it committed suicide. You know.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing this on your game of the year's list, Rich.
Yeah. Right.
No. It will not be. It will be the biggest flop of the year. That list for sure. It'll be on that list.
I guarantee it'll be on our year-end most disappointing games of 2024. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
is
they're
it disappointing because this is what we expected?
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah. No, you're right. As soon as we heard live service, it's like dead on arrival, and we were right.
I actually was interested in the concept of, okay, you get to kill the Suicide Squad. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Justice League. Yeah.
Both will be fine to me, but I don't know. This is actually an interesting concept because usually it's you play the heroes, defeat the villains. That's 99% of all games. But okay, here you play the villains and you defeat the heroes. Okay. Interesting twists. You have some interesting ideas, you know. It could be nice, you know. You can use the game to point out flaws in the characters and how they work, and just point out issues in those characters from like lots of different places. Kind of like fourth wall type breaking stuff. So I'm like, okay, that's an interesting concept. I'm on board with that type of concept. But then as things started getting released more and more, it just kind of became like, why are they doing this? And then like last week or the week before, when there was all those leaks and then the IGN thing and then the review embargo, and then after that I was like, okay, this is not what I thought the game would be or should be, in my opinion. It's just going to be really, really bad. And then I seen how they assassinated the Green Lantern, and I'm not talking about that, Tony. I'm just talking about how they assassinated the character.
The character, yeah. And the power too, Brian. It's like you would think some basic level, even Wikipedia reading would show you how a Green Lantern ring works. But
Tony, I seen that. I was like 5 seconds away from throwing my MacBook out the window. So I was like, I was so close just to screaming, that's not how that works. How do you not know this? And I was like, look, Brian, why are you getting annoyed for? This game is bad. Just let it be. And then I seen the character bios, and I was like, cool, they don't care. So why should I care?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's where I left it.
Yeah, and again, that's the conclusion I came to. I was like I said, when I saw some of these things, and Carlos, you and I got a little discussion about this in the Discord, right? But I thought to myself, like, why am I upset about this? This is exactly what I've been seeing from other properties for like 10 years now. I shouldn't have been surprised by any of this shit, you know? And Brian, that's such a great thing, because I've been saying this mantra to myself too. If they don't care, why should I care? You know?
Yes.
Well, isn't it always the thing? Isn't it always the thing that, like, when it comes to that sort of stuff, a lot of changes and evolutions and stuff that are usually just there to just get people talking, to get people to sort of to start sort of react, to get a reaction. What if you decided to cut the cord and not react at all and don't give any of that that to it?
That's the best point.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the and when we were talking, Tony, like I saw my timeline blow up with people outraged posting the ending on Twitter, and I'm like, why are people
dope?
Yeah, and I'm like, why are people losing their mind? It's a shitty Batman / Arkham / Suicide game. It's like, are you guys like confused? I don't know why people are losing their minds over this. We're gonna get this. Not the first shitty Batman game we're getting. It's not gonna be the last. So it's just I don't.
Oh,
Yeah. It's going to get worse. But yeah, go ahead. But the game's trash.
Just tell those fans to refer to that scene and copy what that person said. Just get it over with. Forget about the game and let's play something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And if you don't give it any attention, it doesn't sell more copies, and people realize that people don't like this type of shit, and they won't make it or change what they're doing about making these games, and that's just the best way to handle things.
Yeah, or they'll double down, because we've seen that happen before too.
Oh, well, they'll crash and burn again.
They'll double down. Go ahead.
I have
Brian.
a question for you guys, because I don't know the answer to this. Is this the first video game outing of Jon Stewart's Green Lantern?
No, he's been in other video games before.
Okay.
There was another. Okay, remember the Marvel X-Men Legends games? There was a DC equivalent of that, and I'm pretty sure he was in that game. This was years. Nobody cared about those games or that game. Excuse me, but no, he's been in other games before. Probably some I don't even know about.
Yeah,
but yeah,
because
no.
I was like, again, I like me some Jon Stewart Green Lantern, because that's what I grew up on. So when I seen that, I was like, okay, cool, we're getting this cool character, and then yeah, the rest is history. So I was like, if this is the only outing of Jon Stewart's Green Lantern that there is, then why? Just awful waste.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'll say this, because again, I already reached my point where I just don't care anymore. But the thing that people, are really, really offended by, the whole thing with Batman, I actually think that's less offensive than the Green Lantern situation. Because at least the Green Lantern situation, you could have just literally read Wikipedia to find out how the rings work.
Mm-hmm.
You could have. This is basic stuff. So to me, that shows you right there that they don't give a fuck. They don't care. So again, if they don't care, why should you care? That's it, man.
Do you know something that I just realized?
What's up?
Even the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern film got that right.
Yeah, and I'll say this, Brian. You said that the premise was interesting. Yes, and it would have been good if it was handled by competent writers. Mm-hmm. But these are not. That's the other thing I didn't even talk about. The dialogue in this game is atrocious. It is horrible. Like the writing, but the problem is you see this across the board. I'm not trying to get into this whole meta thing here, but you see this across the board in media. Writing has just fucking plummeted. It's plummeted like Americans' reading comprehension. It's insane, man. But yeah, flop. So it committed suicide. All right, there was a couple other stories here, but we're already at the 2-hour mark, so we're not going to get into all this stuff. Just real quick, Palworld, 19 million players, still fucking going nuts. People are still loving it. And Bracelet, yeah. Go ahead, Brett, if you have any thoughts on that.
19 million? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think it was like 12 million players on PC, and then the rest on Xbox.
Jesus Christ.
So it's 12 million sold, and then whatever Game Pass.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
Then,
okay,
12
so
million sold in like 2 weeks. That's good numbers.
Yeah, you're right. Even if we don't count the Xbox people, 12 billion is really fucking good. Really fucking. That's Call of Duty numbers right there.
So,
go ahead, Brett.
I'm just that's just these are my shock sounds. Like I hadn't heard any numbers since we had talked like 5 or 6 million, and like it'd been like, well, that's nothing compared to Pokemon. I'm like, yeah, that's true. Got to put my place there, and then like, damn, okay, I did not know.
Yeah. To be fair,
Tony,
it's still not Pokemon levels, but that's pretty damn good,
But I heard that Pokemon is still investigating this, right? That's their little ridiculous statement that they released. So we're going to investigate this. All right, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Carlos, what's up?
I thought you were gonna say it's like, oh, it sold 12 million, and that's not even counting the Xbox engagements.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's why they said 12 million sold on PC, and then whatever millions engaging on Xbox. But no, that's fantastic stuff, man. And then the last thing, by the way, there were some Xbox numbers that came out, but maybe we'll discuss it on the Sunday show because I really wanted Chris to get into that stuff. Embracer Group, they canceled Deus Ex, man. There was a Deus Ex title in development, and
oh no,
very upsetting. It's like, yo, fucking Mankind Divided. When did that come out? Like 2017 or something? Like, Jesus, man.
And I believe that they were already 2 years in development on this game.
Yeah, they were.
And they just decided to cancel. So terrible news. Horrible news.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all, man.
Sounds like Embracer's just collecting franchises and just closing studios now.
That's what it seems like,
Sounds like EA.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like EA, but they never even tried.
Shit. Yeah. And then the last thing I want to quickly bring up, because I saw some guys in the Discord talking about, because there's rumors floating around about the Switch 2 and a potential PlayStation Portable, right? Since these are just like, and I'm just going to say unsubstantiated reports, we're not getting into that stuff because it'll just be wildly speculative, and that's just a waste of time. Let lesser podcasts handle that shit. We don't do that around here, Just because you heard something from some fucking YouTuber or certain even journalists too, which I'm not going to name, but Rich, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Guys who people keep citing despite their bad track record. You may as well come to me when it comes, and I'm talking about journalists right now, two specific journalists, right? To me, when you bring up these guys, in my head, I'm hearing the equivalent of, I heard this from Michael Pachter. That's how credible they are to me, Just because a motherfucker gets something right one time doesn't mean, like, you can't discount the 9 other times they've been wrong. But they got that one thing right, though. They got that one thing right. So, and I'm not even talking about the dumbass influencers. You really shouldn't trust those guys. But when it comes to journalists, if you have a bad track record, stop giving them air. It's like, come on now, guys. Oh, but so and so said there's a portable coming. How many times has so and so been right? Look at that. So when I saw the source, I'm like, yeah, no, we'll leave that alone. We'll wait for some more credible sources, right? You're stepping outside of the world of games, right? Mark Gurman, right? Bloomberg reporter. When a motherfucker talks about Apple, you listen to him. Really good track record when it comes to this stuff, right? When it comes to some of these other guys, gaming, nah, man. Look at the track record. You'll see that it's spotty.
The thing about it is that anybody can say, gaming is a realm where anybody can say anything, and then if it gets close enough, all of a sudden it just becomes the truth. Everybody starts to believe it, and then you have situations where people are getting mad because something that they thought was going to be coming because of all these dumbass rumors didn't get announced.
Oh God, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, but I was waiting for that. Was it officially said? No, you just heard. You know what? I'm not getting into it. Anyway, so that's why we're not talking about those consoles, handhelds, whatever. We're not talking about that. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Another good show. Excellent show, I must say. And Rich, I want to thank you for being on and always enjoy your insight, sir.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, and as always, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. My name is Rich Bailey Jr. Stay tuned to the Coalition. We are actually doing a lot of different gaming things this month. We're getting back into the gaming thing, so stay tuned for that, for sure.
Rich, you got to change your handle on Twitter now to at RBJ. The one and only RBJ.
I suspect that's probably already taken.
It probably is.
It might be taken, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Man, that reminds me. I found this one dude. His name is at Tony Polanco. And I hit him up, and I was cordial, polite. the guy had like 10 followers, never even tweeted. And I'm like, hey man, can I have can I have that username? Motherfucker blocks me.
Oh, whoa!
Like, are you serious, bro? Like, okay. This was the early days of Twitter too, but excuse me, X. By the way, Rich, I had to do that for the first time in my reporting career, man. I had to cite Twitter, and I had to write X, formerly Twitter.
Oh,
like
man.
fuck, yeah. And I'm like, I asked my editor, like, yo, what the fuck do I call this thing?
Well, the thing about it is the URL hasn't changed.
No, it's still Twitter. That's right.
Stupid idiot, because essentially all these things are connected to something called Twitter. They can't switch the URL around.
It's hilarious, man.
Dumbass. Fucking dumbass.
Stupid, yeah. So X, formerly Twitter. Stupid. Anyway, man, we don't have anything to plug, right? I think we're good.
Rich, do you have do you want to plug I Am Negan, or
Yes,
when is that coming back?
I Am Negan will be returning with the premiere of the hottest show of the year that Carlos is looking forward to, called I believe it's The Ones Who Live. So we will be back. I believe that's around February 24th. Stay tuned for that. Of course, we also have a show hosted by Mr. Tony Polanco, the Invincible podcast, returning in March.
Yes, indeed. By the way, Rich, when you were talking about those who live, I heard in my head in your voice, those who flop. We'll see what happens.
It sounds like a knockoff Walking.
Of The Last of Us.
Last of Us, right? It's
Well, isn't that the name of that stupid knockoff like toys and shit?
Yeah, the knockoff toy was called Those Who Survive.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Well, the verdict is still out, but hey, that show might be a flop. I guess we'll have to see. Adam, Vale, myself, and Carlos, we will find out if it's a flop later this month.
Oh man.
Shout out to Adam also.
Yeah, just he's not a member of Throwdown anymore, apparently. But shout out to Adam.
He's not. Apparently, I heard. I thought, since he's got the Jesus hair, you pray enough to him and he showed. No, just like real Jesus, you pray enough, he don't show.
Yeah, he doesn't even answer his emails anymore. I'm very shocked by this. Crazy.
I mean, I heard. I talked to my aunt pretty regularly. He's doing fine. He's he's just doing his thing. So eventually he'll, just like as Adam usually does, he'll eventually stumble in the room and then everything will be as it was. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, on the downside, we don't get Adam every week, but on the bright side, we'll get twice the Adam stories when he gets back.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
I think that's what that's what's really going on. He's charging stories.
He's charging stories. Yeah.
It's like, I walk down the street, all this crazy, there'll be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, something always happens with Adam, man. Anyway, we're done here, so make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations, the rumors are always popping. You can also find us on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show. That's 2 words, Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you've been watching us on YouTube, we are live. We are back, baby. And you like the show, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and be notified of when we go live every Thursday and Sunday, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, both on Twitch and the Twitters. Twitter too sometimes, right, Manny?
Yep, Twitter. We're seeing about getting the process. We did another test of Throwdown Live on Twitter. It's going to my account on Twitter, but hopefully we'll square something away and get that running too.
Yeah, but regardless, YouTube, Twitch, live Thursdays and Sundays, and we're done, man. So for everything, make sure you check out the links down below. And once again, I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
Brian Manjoma.
Larry Peoples.
And Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good weekend, everybody, and avoid Suicide Squad if you can.
Yes, indeed. All right, guys. We'll see you on Sunday, man. Later.
Laters.
This is Katana.